We're going right into this update on the Giuliani probe. Feds scouring his phones. They, of course, raided his apartment. And he's still taking on new legal risk today. He was back out on his radio show quoting none other than Richard Nixon.
I'm not a crook. And they're framing me because, very simple reason. I got the goods on Joe Biden. I'm the guy, unfortunately, who individually exposed Joe Biden. First with regard to his crookedness in Ukraine, and then with regard to the hard drive that shows that he's been a criminal for 30 years and that his son's been feeding him the money for 30 years.
Rudy Giuliani knows his way around Republican politics and history. He's got to know what happened to Richard Nixon in the years after he claimed he was not a crook. Giuliani is under legal pressure. He's got an evidence-free attack here that he's accusing the feds of committing a new crime, of framing him. Of course, he hasn't substantiated that in any way. And it seems like the pressure may be getting to him as he continues to talk on the radio and other airwaves. And I'm joined now, as promised, Neil Kochel, former acting U.S. Solicitor General. Neil, I always try to keep it real with viewers. I try to explain, if we're several days into a story, why are we here again? And sometimes there's big new developments, and sometimes there's just the way people act. And Mr. Giuliani can't stop talking. What I just played is brand new. And so he's feeding the story, and he seems to be feeding a narrative legally where he wants to say that his outside activities against the Bidens, and he has every right to oppose Joe Biden's election, but his outside activities somehow made him a target that otherwise he wouldn't be in this trouble. Your response both to the Nixon claim, which is just wow, and that type of defense he's offering.
Yeah, so here's why it's important, Ari, for our viewers. First, it says a lot about Rudy and Rudy's trajectory. I mean, this is a guy who's gone from being the top prosecutor in New York to being treated as a common criminal and investigated by the very office he used to run. And his defense is, "I'm not a crook," quoting Nixon. That's not particularly good. The FBI has seized 10 of his devices pursuant to a warrant, pursuant to a federal judge's order, and the judge had to certify that probable cause existed to believe a crime had been committed. So that's number one. And look, based on the fact that Giuliani blurted out on national TV that Trump was paying off Stormy Daniels, I'm pretty sure prosecutors would be happy with any one of the 10 devices, let alone all 10. So that's number one. What does it say about Rudy? But the second and more, I think, interesting question is, what does this say about the Trump investigation? Because, you know, there's a lot of people out there who are wondering, like, Trump looks like he might get away with the Stormy Daniels stuff, with other financial improprieties, with January 6th, with what happened in Georgia in terms of election pressure, and Ukraine as well. And here now you've got the government investigators with a close confidant of the president, who in potentially very serious crimes that Rudy Giuliani has committed. And Rudy isn't exactly the most loyal person. So I think if you're Donald Trump, you're worried right now about what Giuliani knows and what he's going to say in exchange for a deal.